The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
Look, back in the day, the Pittsburgh Penguins won a lot of games with no D. Okay? Straight up. I've won a lot of nights with no D. If okay, you know what?
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, Beggsy's back, baby, and welcome to another episode of Locked On Canucks. My name is Trevor Beggs, co-host of Locked On Canucks, and also a Canucks writer currently with the Daily Hive Vancouver. Before we dive into the show, we got to thank you for tuning into Locked On Canucks, because it is your Canucks every damn day. Even when I'm off slacking and drinking in Alberta, Kyle Bhawan has got you covered. And again, we got you covered here on Locked On Canucks every damn day. And hopefully for the Vancouver Canucks, it's a new year, a new Canucks, because 2024, it was a lot of fun, right? Getting back to the postseason, winning a round, taking the Oilers to Game 7, but it ended on a bit of a sour note. But now that we're in 2025, could the Canucks be reborn in a sense? Because again, this is a bit of a tumultuous time for the organization, missing some of their top dogs. And one of the main things that we want to talk about today is, can the Canucks be like the 2017 Pittsburgh Penguins, who, as you know, won it all with no D? Speaking of no D, let me introduce my co-host, Kyle Bhawan. How you doing, brother?
Yep, that's me, man. And it's nice talking to you again, man. It really is, man. Trevor calls me in the morning, and we're talking about what we should talk about. And Trevor's like, you know what? I'm a family man. I watch the games, but I'm not really on Twitter. I don't know what's really going on. Blah, blah, blah. Like, what's new in the Canucks world? And I said, absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. On January the 2nd, we've already heard three rumors of Pettersson getting traded, and Nick Kiprio saying that, Miller's getting traded, and Frank Saravelli paraphrasing, but saying, like neither or, the Canucks like Miller's competitiveness, blah, blah, blah. They want Pettersson to do more, blah, 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 but he doesn't think anyone's getting traded. Like, dude, what? Trevor, winning fixes everything, okay? For real. For real. It's just the truth. Take it from me again. I used to last 4 minutes. And most of 2024, I was lasting 4 minutes in bed. Got called out, was held accountable. Boom, bam, next thing you know, dude, I'm doing my thing. Have I heard any complaints since? Not about that part of our relationship, but hey, it is what it is. One step at a time. Winning fixes everything. And the Canucks need to just win games. And I'm sick and tired of everyone blaming the decor. Okay? Even though they deserve a lot, that part of it deserves a lot of the weight of this equation of why the Canucks can't move the puck. They can't win games. They can't generate shots, blah, blah, blah. All the Patrick Alvin, what were you thinking? I know, I get it. But when JT Miller's still playing on the team and he's healthy, and you're playing the Flames or the Kraken, I don't give an ish, and you got Demko in net, you can still win that game. And it's time for the Vancouver Canucks to stop crying and just win some hockey games.
Well, hey, Kyle, you hit the nail on the head. Winning fixes everything. And I also think you made a good point about, not really blaming the D. I mean, that's an issue right now, obviously, with Hughes and Hronek out of the lineup. But in my opinion, it's not the primary issue with the Canucks. And I actually think looking at what the Pittsburgh Penguins did in 2016-17 gives us a good roadmap for what the Canucks need to do moving forward. So as most people know, the Pittsburgh Penguins in 2016-17 won the Stanley Cup without Chris Letang. And again, we're talking about a decor that had, obviously Justin Schultz was kind of their top dog. But other than Justin Schultz, it was Ian Cole, Ron Hainsey, Oli Mata, Brian Dumoulin, a little bit of Trevor Daley mixed in there as well, and a little bit of Mark Streit. So, it was a ragtag defensive core. I mean, you have Mark Streit, who was almost 40 at the time, Ron Hainsey, who was 35. It was certainly not a star-studded defense, but they ended up winning the goddamn cup despite missing Chris Letang. And if you dive behind the hood a bit for the 2016-17 Pittsburgh Penguins, and again, to me, this points to the fact that the Canucks needed to figure things out on offense. The Pittsburgh Penguins in 2016-17 were one of the league leaders in terms of shots on goal, something the Canucks are allergic to doing. In fact, they were the league leader in 2016-17, averaging 33.5 shots on goal per game. And that mattered because they gave up the third most shots in the NHL at 32.6 per game.
Wow.
So, again, you look at the Canucks right now, and they're almost the polar opposite of that. They're pretty good at limiting chances, limiting those shots. but they are absolutely allergic to getting shots on goal. So,
Oh man.
heading into the new year, I mean, we said it time and time again. Every day is no. The floor of this Vancouver Canucks team is pretty high, right? And we're kind of seeing the floor right now, especially with the fact that they're missing Hughes, Hronek, and Pettersson. But the Vancouver Canucks, they do a pretty good job of limiting most shots, a good amount of chances, even with this defense core. But what they need to do is start creating some of their own luck. And it's getting frustrating to say this over and over again, Kyle, because we've been saying this since about March of last year now. Yeah.
Trevor, I watched that game with my girl, the Calgary Flames game, and she was sounding like a hockey analyst, man. She was sounding like Satir Shah. Bro, she was like, yo, why does this team why don't they do anything with the puck? Why are they so aggressive? Why do they just skate around in circles in the defensive zone? Why do they only why aren't they aggressive? Why aren't they taking the puck across the blue line? Why is it always dumping and chasing? Like they're playing scared. Like she was saying all these things watching one game, and I'm like, yo, that's your Canucks. That's your Canucks. They're so good at being so boring. Let's face it. It's been 11 months of this. They're slowing down. They're not breaking out of their habits. And it's interesting to hear that you pointed out the Penguins, right? Playing aggressive, not having the defense. So we're going to skate. We're going to give up some chances, but we're going to take more chances. And maybe the Canucks need to change that mindset and just lean on Lankin and Demko to do a lot of work, because I believe in those guys. That they could hold it down. Like if we give up 5 more shots because we want to take 7 more, 8 more, which you clearly have to do. I mean, the Canucks have averaged 23.5 shots over the last 9 games. Before that, they were averaging 24.5. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even joking. Like they're just utter shit offensively. So boring. They got to change it up. And again, that's why, Trevor, I'm just so over looking at our decor needing a huge fix, because I get it. I understand it, but I feel like that's a cop-out. That's a cop-out. Forwards, do a lot more. Skate harder. Do your thing on both ends of the rink. Be better defensively. Do your thing. But offensively speaking, you know what I'm saying? Just hold on to the puck more so you don't have to play so much defense.
Yeah, and I mean, I think this dump and chase style has been incredibly frustrating to watch for the Canucks. And, once they have the puck in the offensive zone, they tend to be ringing around the boards. And again, they just need to start getting shots on net. And I know it's a bit of a struggle with this defense scoring. We saw it in the Calgary game. Forbort, Juleson, these guys are not offensive producers, and they're trying to get shots on net, and it's getting blocked. But, I think the Canucks just need to get greasy here, and you're playing under Rick Tocchet, one of the greasiest players in NHL history. Like, this shouldn't be rocket science for this Vancouver Canucks team, especially when they're missing guys like Hughes and Pettersson. And I know that won't be long-term, but they need to get a little greasier offensively. Come on, it's 2025, and my New Year's resolution for the Vancouver Canucks is to get greasy, baby.
Get greasy, man. Play hard. And there's there is a way to play hard and also generate more offense. I think sometimes you look at both those things and you're like, oh yeah, you gotta grind out wins, blah, blah, blah. Like, just look how Calgary took it to us at points. They're just skating hard, skating fast. They're skating into the neutral zone with the puck. They're generating 3-on-3s, 3-on-2s, but they're taking it to the net. They're putting a shot on net. Boom, bam. Next thing you know, there's an offensive zone faceoff. Oh, next thing you know, you're generating chances. Oh, the other team ices the puck. Like, just play with some effing confidence with the puck. And again, we had one comment here. It's a big one. It makes the most sense when it comes to us comparing the Canucks to the Penguins of way back when the Penguins had no Letang and whatnot. And geometric universal intelligence is saying Crosby is the difference. Okay, I don't know if this guy looked at the stars and did some astrology and figured out the code. But yeah, Crosby is the difference. Like, maybe Pittsburgh was able to do it because, they had Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin. Hey, hopefully Pettersson's back tomorrow. But Pettersson and Miller should alone, culturally speaking, dynamically speaking, do the most to shift this team's ideology. Like, play at your best. Play at your best. If both of you guys play at your best, that's probably 6 to 7 more shots per game. I'm not tripping. I'm not joking. They have to do all the carrying here. Like, stop. Everyone's blaming Alvin and Rutherford for not fixing the D. Again, they get a portion of the blame because they swung and missed on Myers and Darnay. That's big. That's big. But at the same time, this team still has Miller and Pettersson. Like, just put the pressure on them. Like, get some shit done and do more. Like, change the culture of this team. Change the identity of this team. Like, if you guys do more, we're going to have way more shots on net. It's ironic how we're talking about this team having 24 shots on net, 25 shots on net per game. I know Besser and Miller had 10 combined in the Calgary game, but before that, it's Sherwood taking most of these shots. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not Kiefer Sherwood is probably averaging more shots on goal than Elias Pettersson this year. That's pathetic.
I think he leads the Canucks in chance generation, like whether it's
Come
scoring
on, man.
chances or scoring chance assists. Kiefer Sherwood is the
So
most
Trevor,
prolific Canuck offensively right now.
so Trevor, again, if we want to do this and mask some of our problems with our defense, and I know we're not in the playoffs yet and whatnot, and the Penguins, Letang gets hurt, they still win a cup, all that jazz. Let's get through January and February with this shaky ass decor, just by again putting I don't want to say the pressure and not the blame, but putting the responsibility on Miller and Pettersson. Like, wake the F up.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, part of the reason I want to go with that 2017 Pittsburgh Penguins angle today is because it does get a little old every show just saying Miller and Pettersson wake up. But this is the biggest problem with the Canucks, right? Is Miller and Pettersson have not been themselves, especially when they've been in the lineup together this season. I think Pettersson had that nice stretch when Miller was gone, but long term, these two either need to figure out how to be the stars that we believe they can be, or the Canucks got to make some pretty drastic changes, which is a dark narrative I don't really want to touch on until the Canucks maybe start fading a little bit more down the stretch. Kyle, I do want to pick up this conversation about the Canucks being like the 2017 Pittsburgh Penguins again, starting the new year off on an optimistic note. A couple more points I want to make on that on the other side, and I also want to take a look at the Canucks playoff odds right now and a bit of the schedule ahead. We'll also get into a bit of the Canucks Kraken game, maybe some potential trade targets from the Seattle Kraken as well. Kyle, I'll give it to you before I cut to break here.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I didn't get to. I blacked out because I was so mad at Miller and Pettersson. Again, Malkin and Crosby were able to do it, and I know that's like a huge comparison that you can't really make because you're talking about two of the best, 15 players of all time. But that's the key, okay? Like, Miller and Pettersson have to be the Crosby and Malkin of this team, and that's why I think Alvin and Rutherford and Tocchet keep bringing up Crosby. They're not telling Miller and Pettersson to, like, at the end of the day, become the third best player of all time. Just, like, get your shit together, man. Like, take the blame. Don't shy away from it. Don't run away from reporters. Be a beacon of light. Be a beacon of firmness. Stability. Like, when Pettersson walked away from those reporters a couple weeks ago, and I was talking about, like, yo, don't break. You're the top dog on this team. You know what I'm saying? You don't break, because you're gonna show the rest of the team that you don't got it. Like, that's got to stop. And that's why I think Miller and Tocchet and Alvin are, like, they're trying to make these guys not transform into Crosby, but just grow up and shoulder this load and do so the right way, as a stoic, as a leader, as a captain, and again, as guys that are getting paid $20 million combined. It's on them.
And making the big boy bucks. It's time for them to step up and be some big boys. At least for Miller. Hopefully that starts tonight, and for Pettersson when he gets back into the lineup, hopefully in short order. Let's get to break here on the other side. I want to bring up two more points about the Canucks being the 2017 Penguins. Also, look at the Canucks playoff odds. You're listening to Locked On Canucks, your Canucks every damn day. We'll be back on the other side after showing at our friends over at Gametime. I love going to live events, baby. Especially nowadays, man. I got the kids, go to live events ain't as easy as it used to be, whether it's sports, music, theater, or comedy. One of my favorite memories from last year, I was watching your Vancouver Canucks play live, baby. Let's go. The energy and excitement was unforgettable. And Gametime, they helped me with this, okay? And they made it even easier to get tickets to my favorite live events with a new feature called Gametime Picks. This feature filters up the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you have to waste your time searching through thousands of tickets. And Gametime, they have my back, baby, okay? Helping me get tickets to the Canucks and Flames on New Year's Eve. And, man, I think my voice is still recovering from me yelling at Flames fans, at the boys. Funny story, quick. I dropped an F-bomb like less than 2 minutes into the game, like F Tyler Myers, because he fired the puck 5 feet wide, and a Flames fan asked me to stop swearing. But it's what it is, man. Gametime got me there for the memories. Make sure you take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Go down that Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? Gametime.
People, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks. Kyle Bhawan, Trevor Beggs, the second best dad in the world. I'm sure we'll get into all of his holiday activities in a couple of minutes. But first, let's talk about you and you and you and you. And what I mean by that is get to a couple of the comments, okay? This one comes from Mother Nucker. Yeah. He's saying the fact that it has gone on this long and now former players are confirming it with Miller and Pedersen, it tells me that it's too far gone and the only solution is to send one of the main issues, Miller and Pedersen, for a change of scenery. Canucks fans, can we just shut up just a little right now? We're what 1 year removed, metaphorically speaking, from us having one of the most dynamic 1-2 punches in hockey, right? Remember, January was the month where Pedersen won Player of the Month too. We need to find a solution here where these two are on the same team. I want to win a Stanley Cup so bad. So bad. Obviously, Quinn Hughes playing like he's one of the best players in the world. You sprinkle that in with a 1-2 punch like Miller and Pedersen when they're playing at their best with Demko and Lankinen, and I see a recipe there, even with Noel Juleson on the scene. Let's believe it's gonna work out. And why can't these guys just work it out? Why can't they just work it out? Find a solution. Again, when I was told I wasn't lasting long in bed and that was a problem, you think I just got sad about it and avoided the situation? I worked through it and I got better. That's what real 30-year-olds do. Real men do. And it's time for both these guys to act like a Findu. I mean, act like me. And just don't take it to heart and do what's best for the team. Don't take it personal. Just get better. What's the quote from Uncle Ricky? Don't get bitter, get better.
Oh, shout out to Uncle Ricky. And, look, again, when I'm looking at these 2017 Pittsburgh Penguins, without Chris Letang in the lineup for that run where they won the Stanley Cup, they had 4 studs in their lineup, right? And it was Crosby, it was Malkin, it was Kessel, and it was Gensel. Those are the 4 guys that were nearing a point a game in the playoffs. And if you look at the Canucks, I mean, it's a bit of a different setup, but there's a similar recipe when they have everyone healthy, and that's having the 4 dogs up front who could and should be able to lead this team to the promised land. And it is JT Miller, Elias Pettersson, Brock Besser, and of course, Quinn Hughes. Aside from that Pittsburgh Penguins team, it was just a bunch of dudes out there, right? So when I look at this Canucks team, the recipe is there. The guys are there. Obviously, what's going on with Miller and Pettersson is a bit more between the ears or between the mouths, maybe in their case, if they're barking at each other. But I do think if they can figure it out, there's a path for this Vancouver Canucks team to, again, just, change things up a bit in terms of their dynamic, but also the way they play too. Just take some more risks, get some more pucks towards the net. Because this Canucks should be able to rely on above average goaltending with Demko and Lankinen in net. Maybe they can give up a bit more defensively to create more offensively, because right now they've averaged, like you said, this season 23 over the past month, 25, barely over 25 shots on net so far this season. It's bottom 3 in the league. So that needs to change for sure. But I do think the recipe is there for this Canucks team to be like the Pittsburgh Penguins. When I look at that team as well from 2017, Pittsburgh Penguins had a pretty good penalty kill, pretty good power play. And the Canucks have the recipe to do good things on both sides of the puck there as well. The only negative I'll mention is that obviously that 2017 Pittsburgh Penguins team had the confidence of winning the Stanley Cup the year before. The Canucks don't quite have that, but they should have some confidence based on what they did last season. They were one of the best damn teams in the NHL.
Dude, there's no confidence. It's hard to be confident when, again, Pedersen and Miller are so damn inconsistent, and they're not play driving, and they just look like normal guys out there. Speaking of which, again, Canucks fans, stop doing this. It's over, okay? Look at Oliver's thing. 100% agree, David. I guess David's in the comments using the chat bot and talking about the defense core, the Canucks. But Oliver's like, I agree 100%. Okay, the biggest issue with the Canucks or the Canada or the Canucks. Oh, never mind. I'm reading this comment wrong. Okay, I think they're talking about the Four Nations Cup. Anyways, I want people to stop talking about the Canucks' biggest problem being their puck moving on the back end. Blah blah blah. I feel like that's turning into a cop-out answer. And again, the real problem is not seeing this team with Pedersen and Miller doing their thing game in and game out. And guys, take it back to Nashville, the series. Ironically, we play Nashville tomorrow. Maybe they'll reverse the curse tomorrow. But we had Zadorov in the lineup. We had Ian Cole in the lineup. And we won a playoff series. Thank God we were playing Nashville. But we won a playoff series with the least amount of shots in that whole series. So even with Zadorov and Ian Cole, we were doing the same thing. Why? Because Miller was going, but Pettersson wasn't. It's got to change. Both those guys have to get going at the same time for the culture of to change for the Vancouver Canucks. Yo, Quinn Hughes is taking so many shots. Like, come on, guys. It's on Miller and Pettersson and nobody else. The buck stops there.
No, I 100% agree. And look, again, the schedule for the Canucks in January, it's got some tough matchups. And I think January might tell us a little bit about this team. But before I get into the schedule, let's look a bit at the playoff odds for the Canucks here. The Athletic has the Canucks playoff odds at 77%. To me, that seems a little high right now, based on the way they're playing, based on the injuries. But still, again, obviously it's doable that they make the playoffs. The two teams on their heels are, the Utah Hockey Club and the Calgary Flames. And the both teams have their flaws as well. I don't think the Canucks should be guaranteed to lose a spot to those guys. But 77% of the Athletic, and over at Money Puck, who's been a bit lower on the Canucks odds for a while now, has the Canucks playoff odds way down at 46.8%, with basically Calgary and Utah getting a boost in terms of their odds on that side as well. So the point I want to make is that making the playoffs for the Canucks now is not a given, right? And they're really going to have to figure out a way win games. And I think they got to figure out how to do it differently than they've been doing it so far this season, where they've largely just beat good teams based on good goaltending and good puck luck, right? So I do think the Canucks are going to need to create some more of their own luck moving forward. And Kyle, the schedule ahead doesn't really get much easier for the Vancouver Canucks. They got some easier games in quotation over the next 3 games here. Kraken tonight, Predators tomorrow, Canadians to start a road trip next Monday. Then after that, they're on the road against the Capitals, the Hurricanes, the Maple Leafs, the Jets. Back of the rods for the Kings and Oilers. Like, that is a pretty tough 6-game stretch for the Vancouver Canucks. They play the Oilers and Capitals again as well later in January, along with the Dallas Stars. So this ain't going to be an easy stretch for the Vancouver Canucks. And again, I think they're going to have to just find ways to win differently, get it together, get more pucks in the net, and hopefully get some greasier goals heading forward here.
Look at this, man. This is one of the scariest comments of all time. Lane Stanley, he doesn't think the Canucks are going to make the playoffs. Okay, this guy doesn't care about the playoff odds. Look at this. He's saying, I'm done supporting a team that can barely cross the line with the puck. Again, this is what my girlfriend was telling me. Like, I didn't know my girl knew hockey like that, but she could just see it off one game. And we're playing the Calgary Flames. And Lane also says it's so embarrassing to watch, especially with my son. He loves the Canucks, but asked me why they can't try harder. And again, my girlfriend kept mentioning that too. Like, why aren't they trying? Why is the black team trying way harder than us? It's like that's just been the Canucks for like 34 games, but that's mainly because they don't have an identity to lean on. And realistically speaking, like, they can't lean on what was the word that Takada always used last year? Oh, the staples, right? The staples.
Mm-hmm.
And as Trevor alluded to, I think with Bluger and Suter in their bottom six and like more of the team defense, like the base is there for them not to give up so much. But there's no point in this team trying to lean into being defensive when they're playing Juleson and Darnay and Myers every night. They need Pettersson and Miller. I know it's sounding so redundant to change the identity of this team. They do. Like, once those two get going, it's gonna sprinkle out through. It's gonna give everyone some more mojo. It's gonna relax everyone. Give everyone some more confidence. Like, you think Darnay and Juleson playing strong hockey or Myers playing strong hockey is gonna give a sprinkle down effect to the rest of the lineup? That's not how it works. It has to come from the top of the lineup, the best players. Dude, the Canucks need to be seen as a team that looks dynamic offensively because they have JT Miller and Pettersson down the middle on separate lines, and they're driving play. Then after that, you got Sherwood doing his thing, and Bluger and Suter. Like, yo, let's start there. It's not Andrew. It's not JT Confer and Dylan Larkin down the middle as your top two centers. Like, it's on Miller and Pettersson. Enough said.
Enough said, and that's where we're going to cut to break here. Get to the other side. I'll get to a few more of your comments. Talk a bit more about this Canucks Kraken matchup tonight. You're listening to Locked On Canucks. Your Canucks every damn day. We'll be back on the other side after shouting at our friends over at FanDuel. The NFL playoffs are almost here with Kyle's Green Bay Packers in it and without my Seattle Seahawks in it. But even though the Seahawks are out, it's not too late for you to get in on regular season action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can finish the season strong with $250 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. FanDuel has so many ways for you to pick up the W. I love betting on which players will score a touchdown and how many points each team will score. It's thrilling. I'm not gonna lie, I was on a bit of a cold streak betting wise, but as the drinks were flowing over the holidays, I was placing a few bucks on FanDuel. I won some money on Trey McBride getting his first touchdown of the season, ending his streak after setting the longest, most amount of receptions without a touchdown in one season, almost 100 receptions before he got his first touchdown. Shout out to Trey McBride. Won a few bucks betting on the overs on rushing for Jaden Daniels and Bijan Robinson as well. So again, whatever bets you're placing, make sure you go do it with FanDuel on FanDuel.com for your chance to win $250 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
People, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks, okay? And that's Kyle Bound, it's Trevor Beggs, it's not Sportsnet, it's not Sakaris and Price. Hey, speaking of which, man, I hop on Twitter, to just just see what the lineup's looking like tonight. I know Talkit is talking about making some changes on defense. Like, if it's not Breezeball in for like Juleston or Darren A, I don't want to see Branson out of the lineup. I know we kind of struggled against Calgary, but all in all, I went on Twitter to go check that, and these are the first two tweets I see, okay? One is from Josh Elliott Wolf of Sportsnet. What if this Pettersson and Miller thing is just a much more toxic Luongo and Schneider thing, and the Canucks end up trading both instead of just choosing one, okay? And then there's Sakaris saying if Rutherford can't resolve this to the benefit of the Canucks, he is redundant and needs to go. Again, can we just put the effing pressure on Miller and Pettersson to get this going? We're like 12 months removed from, again, these two being dynamic down the middle. You know what I'm saying? That's the solution. Don't give into all the noise missing curfew is making now and Nick Kyprios. Let's just not only just put the pressure, but the hope that these two can get it done. I know it seems so grim and dark right now, but people are acting like this has been a problem on the ice for 3 years. Off it, sure, but on the ice, for the most part, they've been able to handle this.
Yeah, and again, I think there's going to be more narrative about this once Pettersson gets back into the lineup, right? But for right now, JT Miller is that top dog offensively, and that line had an okay game, at least statistically, against the Calgary Flames. I don't know if they made a crazy impact just from my thoughts watching live, but it is on kind of JT and Brock right now to spearhead the team offensively. You see some guys in the bottom of the lineup playing with heart. I thought that PDG, Sasson, and Dakota Joshua had some moments in terms of the forecheck. But again, it's got to be the Stars leading the way. I will say about the Kraken Canucks game tonight, first and foremost, I think the Canucks need to try to pick up at least 2 wins here over the next 3 games against the Kraken, the Habs, and the Predators. I mean, those are, bottom feeding teams. And unfortunately, right now, the Canucks, their ceiling is very mid right now with them missing their top stars. But the next 3 games are winnable games, even against, or especially against 3 teams that aren't very good.
Mm-hmm.
Also, again, maybe I'm too optimistic here. New year, new me. Who the hell knows? But I have a hard time seeing the Canucks lose 2 games to the Kraken within a week of each other. And I know that I think they're going to come in pissed off tonight against the Kraken after inexcusably blowing that lead last week. So I do think we see a good effort from the Canucks tonight. But obviously, the ceiling of this team is capped right now until A, their stars get back, or B, they start playing differently.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be fitting again, if in the next 3 games where we're playing middling teams, Nashville on paper a bit better than they are. Again, if we're gonna think that the Canucks can turn it around, we have to approach Nashville they could turn it around. They're a good team and they could turn it around. We have to, okay? Straight up. Anyways, we're facing those 3 teams. We still have JT Miller playing. No Hughes, no Hronek, no Pettersson. Oh my God, I know. But still Demko and Miller and Besser and Lankinen, there's still a base there. And I'm sorry, Miller. It's that time. We've already waited 40 games almost. You got to win us these games. You got to win us these games. So I'm putting the pressure on. Let's go 3-0. Let's quiet down the noise. Because again, winning fixes everything. Now the recipe to success there, it's a little different. But again, for 55 minutes against the Kraken, they held it down. So do the same tonight. Demko and Ned, you gotta believe that this guy's gonna want to come out firing. And bro, like it's ironic how we went the whole episode mentioning Pettersson and Miller 87 times, and not their beef, but like their need to be successful on this team at the same time. But Trevor, take it away, man, and let us know in the comments. Demko's got to be part of the recipe too. It's been like a 6-7 game sample size. I know the Papatias, the Papalias, the Pepatuus. Like who knows, like how it is to play after getting one of those things removed. But like, why not get like 9:30 goaltending for the next couple of weeks until Hughes comes back so we can survive here? Why not? From Patrick Demko, like be that guy. Allow 1 goal a game, allow 1.5 goals a game. Like go on a generational run because you're that guy.
Yeah, the Canucks are going to need Demko. I mean, look, it's been interesting with Demko because I think one of the main issues right now, and his save percentage isn't great. He's 2-1-3. But when you look at Thatcher Demko, the one thing the Canucks did a really good job of last year was not allowing those home plate chances, the chances right in front of the net. And if you look at most of the goals he's allowed, they are coming from right in front of the net. So the defense is letting them down in front of him. So yeah, I think the Canucks need to. It's tough. I don't want to sound like a hypocrite because I'm telling them to maybe play a bit looser and rely on the crazy goaltending. But look, Thatcher Demko's played behind some pretty chaotic atmospheres in Vancouver before and been that guy. So I'm might be time for Demko to step up here because Kevin Lankin has done his part this season. Demko, again, he's been back for a handful of games now. Perhaps it's time for Thatcher Demko to steal a win or two for the Vancouver Canucks.
100%. How about a winner 6? Like, how about you win player of the month at the end of the month? I'm being serious. And look no further, guys, than a team that we're facing in a couple of days. Like, I'm not sure how good of a goaltending performance they've gotten time in and time out from their guy. But like Montreal, I don't know if they played yesterday, but I feel like they're like 6-1 in their last 7 games. Like with a middling team, the Canucks can go 6-1 too in their next 7 too. I believe that. They got Miller and they still got Demko. Like, just get it done. Those guys have to step up, and they have to step up now. And I not to end this on a sour note, but if they don't step up, that's when I start getting scared because that's when this team could get Hughes and Hronek back, but they're 6 points out of a playoff spot.
Yeah,
because they're losing games to the Kraken, they're losing games to the Flames, they're losing games to the Predators.
Well, and Kyle, I think you brought up a good point about the Canadians. I mean, look, this is what tells you why sports is unpredictable sometimes. The Canadians have won 6 of their last 7, as you said. And look at the teams they've beaten over the last 3 games. They beat the Panthers, they beat the Lightning, and they beat the Golden Knights. So I'm just saying, man, the Canucks, they got the players to win hockey games, even without Hughes and Pettersson. Obviously, it is a bit tougher, but it's certainly still possible with the squad. Some of the top dogs up front, the high floor, and especially the goaltending in place right now.
100 1,000,000%. Okay, everyone that's watching this, do a couple things. Okay, hit the like button. It really does help us out a lot. If you're new to the program, Trevor has 2 kids. I have a girlfriend I've been dating for 4 years. She happens to be Punjabi too. So like, you got to do the math. If I want to get married, it's like $700,000 for this wedding. Okay, so hit the like button. It goes a long way. And just have some faith, guys. Have some faith. The one silver lining in all of this is like the Vancouver Canucks fans. You guys are still not that far away from being removed, where games in January didn't even matter. We're already out. We're playing the lottery simulator. We're looking at the bigger picture. We're looking at like what moves we got to make in this and that. We're looking at our college prospects. That's the only thing we're looking at. Right now, we're in the dance. We're in the heat of it. Like, every game matters. Like, you're going to be watching tonight's game with a little bit of pressure in your stomach, a little bit of nerves. And honestly, that's sports. I love watching sports like that. So be grateful and have faith that Thatcher Demko can steal the show. Hey, speaking of you, I don't know if you have a couple comments queued up, but let's get to some. Okay, Trevor? This comes from Mike. Demko needs to be great tonight. This comes from Barbershop Window. If Demko was healthy, we would have won the cup. Okay, Barbershop Window, if you actually believe in that, right? Again, that was like a handful of months ago when Miller and Pettersson were down the middle on this team. You know what I'm saying? So again, all this noise about like needing to trade one of these guys and like it has to happen right now. I'm telling you, to me, that's a little backwards, yo. That's pressing the button way too early. That's pressing the button way too early. And I guess the last comment, I guess for Trevor, maybe you can talk about team goals or just yourself, is this from Gigatronic. Okay, what are your goals in 2025?
Man, oh man, I feel like there's a lot of balls in the air in my life, but no, how about for you and I to do a live show here on Locked On Canucks, or at least have a little meetup or something, man. I'd love to see some phases here from the Locked On Canucks listeners. Like, I got to be a little healthier myself, man. After winning my ball hockey championship at the end of July, I've let my foot off the gas there, and maybe that's the reason the Canucks have sucked. Remember, we did 50 push-ups for the Canucks ahead of the 2023-24 season.
Oh,
In a row each, and then they started to kill it. So maybe, Kyle, if you and I, and you out there, if we pick it up physically, be good to your neighbors, be good to your body, maybe the Canucks can also pick it up as well. Put that good karma out in the atmosphere.
I like it, man. Let's do it. Let's have a strong January fitness-wise and do our best every day. Like, honestly, you approach every day with some purpose and just try hard, man, for real. I like that energy. Let's put that out there so that our neighbors also get that aura. And speaking of which, our neighbors are those Vancouver Canucks. And again, it's kind of grim right now, but I'm looking forward to tonight. Like, I'm looking forward to, like, watching a game that really matters on a Thursday night on January the 2nd. Because this game does really matter, okay? Trevor Beggs, Kyle Bhawan, again, smash the like button, smash it, break it. I sound like I'm 18 years old. Anyways, if you touch the like button, it does help us out a lot. Helps put the show on. Subscribe to the channel and join the Discord. It's a good place to talk Canucks while the game is going on and you're on the toilet. So the link to that is in the bio. Trevor Beggs, do us a favor and sign us out.
All right. Well, shout out to you and you out there listening, whether you're a first-time listener, an everyday, or anyone in between. We appreciate the hell out of you for tuning in to Locked On Canucks. Again, if you like what we're doing on the YouTube side, go subscribe and smash that like button on the podcast side. Go follow us and, oh, baby, go leave a 5-star review. Kyle, hopefully you and I will be linking up again for the postgame tonight. I miss doing this with you, buddy. My 2025 is off to a good note because you and I are living the dream, getting to talk about the Canucks to you and you and you. Come on, hopefully it's a new year for the Canucks as well. Let's turn a page and let's start off right with the win over the Kraken tonight. Whatever happens, Colin, we got you covered here on Locked On Canucks. But for now, we got to sign out. I'm Trevor Beggs. That guy's Kyle Bhawan. And you've been listening to Locked On Canucks.
Peace, peace, peace.
Your Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.